Tom Hardy's appearance on Jimmy Kimmel's late-night show was expected to be a relaxed, entertaining conversation like any other Hollywood celebrity interview. The atmosphere was lively as the audience cheered when Hardy walked onto the stage with his usual smirk, sporting a black leather jacket and jeans. Jimmy began the segment with friendly banter, teasing Hardy about his tough guy roles and British accent. But things took an unexpected turn when Jimmy brought up a sensitive topic: a recent controversy involving Hardy on a film set. What began as a light-hearted joke suddenly made Hardy's expression stiffen. The audience laughed, unaware that the actor's mood had shifted. He leaned forward, subtly clenching his fists, and looked straight at Jimmy with a piercing stare. The studio lights seemed hotter, and the energy in the room shifted from cheerful to tense. Jimmy, always the master of comedy and tension breaking, tried to pivot, laughing off the remark and saying, "Come on, Tom, you know we had to ask." But Hardy wasn't in the mood for comedy. He replied curtly, "There's asking, and then there's poking." "Which one was that, Jimmy?" The crowd chuckled awkwardly, sensing something was off. Jimmy looked around, unsure whether to laugh or steer the conversation elsewhere. But Hardy wasn't letting go. "You've got a platform," he continued, "and people watch you to laugh, not to stir up drama from rumors that don't even hold water." Jimmy tried to lighten the tone, saying it was all in good fun, but Hardy leaned back and crossed his arms, clearly fuming. "You think it's fun to mock what people go through behind closed doors just to get a laugh?" he said, his voice low but sharp. The audience fell nearly silent. What made this moment more dramatic was the live audience's visible discomfort. Some tried to laugh nervously, others just stared, trying to decipher whether this was all an act. Jimmy maintained his composure as best he could, but his usually confident demeanor showed signs of cracking. "Tom, if I crossed a line, I apologize," he said. But Hardy wasn't satisfied with that. "Crossing a line isn't the same when you've got millions of people watching," he said. "You're shaping narratives." This comment took the tension even higher. Kimmel raised his eyebrows, trying to regain control. "We're just here to entertain," he offered. Hardy shot back, "Yeah? Then maybe find something entertaining that doesn't dig into people's lives." There was no yelling, but the sharpness in Tom's tone was undeniable. It wasn't a meltdown, it was a controlled storm, and it was brewing live on national television. The next few moments were thick with unspoken emotion. Jimmy reached for his coffee mug, trying to reset the mood. "So, you've got a new movie coming out," he said, switching topics abruptly. Hardy didn't respond immediately. He stared at Jimmy, letting the silence speak. Then, slowly, he said, "I do. And it's about a man who's constantly misunderstood because people are too busy making jokes instead of listening." That line struck a chord. It was unclear if Hardy was promoting his film or making a point. Jimmy, unsure how to respond, gave a soft chuckle. "That sounds deep," he said. Hardy nodded. "It is. Life tends to be, when you're not wearing a smile for the camera all the time." The moment was uncomfortable yet captivating. Viewers watching at home began flooding social media, unsure whether this was performance art or a genuine clash. Social media was ablaze within minutes. Clips from the show were uploaded and dissected in real time. Hashtags like #Hardy vs Kimmel and #Tom Hardy meltdown began trending. Some viewers praised Hardy for standing up for himself, while others accused him of being too sensitive. Meanwhile, the interview continued with both men trying to navigate the awkwardness. Jimmy tried to ask more about the film, its plot, the action sequences, and Hardy's experience on set. But Hardy's answers were short, focused, and emotionally distant. It became clear that the earlier exchange had derailed the energy of the show. He wasn't there to joke anymore. He was sending a message. And the message was about the cost of public scrutiny, the discomfort of being constantly analyzed, and the weight of having to laugh along even when you're hurting. Jimmy tried once more to break the ice. "I mean, we all have bad days, right? Even movie stars." Hardy looked at him, smirked bitterly, and replied, "Some of us just can't afford to show it until it leaks. Then everyone gets to watch, laugh, and pretend to care." The audience gasped lightly. Jimmy blinked, visibly taken aback. He tried to recover by praising Hardy's acting, saying that intensity like his is what makes him great. "You bring that fire to the screen. That's why fans love you." Hardy replied, "Fans love honesty, and sometimes honesty doesn't come with a smile." There was a long pause. The silence wasn't empty, it was loaded. It felt like both men were aware they had walked into a conversation far bigger than either of them had prepared for. Behind the scenes, producers debated cutting to a commercial break, but the live format limited their options. Kimmel, being a veteran, tried another route. He opened up a little, saying, "You know, sometimes even I get tired of always being the funny guy." This was unexpected. Hardy softened a bit. "Yeah, then you get it. The mask is heavy, huh?" Jimmy nodded slowly. "It is." For the first time in the entire segment, the tension dipped slightly. They were two public figures, stripped of their roles for a moment, speaking as men rather than personas. The audience responded with gentle applause. This wasn't comedy anymore, it was raw, unscripted humanity on display. Some viewers would later call it one of the most real moments they'd ever seen on late-night TV. Still, the clash had left its mark. As the show moved on, both Hardy and Kimmel kept their distance. The jokes felt forced, the laughs delayed. Hardy finished the interview with standard promotional lines, but his body language remained stiff. Jimmy thanked him for coming, though his voice lacked its usual warmth. As Hardy exited the stage, he didn't turn to wave or smile, he simply walked off. The camera briefly caught Jimmy exhaling sharply, clearly relieved it was over. The crew shifted quickly to the next segment, but the energy in the room never fully returned to its original light-hearted state. Fans watching from home were divided, as some called Hardy overdramatic, while others respected his refusal to let humor override dignity. In the following days, the incident dominated entertainment news. Talk shows replayed the clip, podcasts analyzed every facial expression, and fans argued in comment sections. Hardy didn't post anything on social media, keeping silent. Jimmy, on the other hand, addressed the moment in his next episode, saying, "Sometimes conversations go places you don't expect. That's the beauty and chaos of live TV." He didn't apologize but acknowledged the awkwardness. The comment was met with mixed reactions. Some felt he handled it well, others said he should have apologized more directly. Regardless, the encounter had already become a viral moment, dissected, memed, debated. But for Hardy, it seemed to be more than just a moment. It felt like a statement. Several of Hardy's colleagues and fans came to his defense. Actress Charlize Theron tweeted support, saying Hardy's passion is what makes him brilliant. Others echoed the sentiment, saying celebrities shouldn't always have to smile through uncomfortable questions. Some critics, however, argued that Hardy overreacted on a platform meant for fun, suggesting he could have addressed the issue differently. Yet the debate wasn't about just that night, it was about the expectations placed on celebrities, the boundaries of entertainment, and the fine line between humor and harm. Hardy had unintentionally sparked a larger conversation about how public figures are treated in media. Eventually, Hardy broke his silence in an interview with a UK magazine. When asked about the Kimmel incident, he said, "I don't regret it. I'm human. I was tired. And I was tired of pretending." He didn't mention Jimmy by name, but his message was clear. We all have our limits. Mine got tested that night. Maybe people saw a different side of me, maybe that's a good thing. Fans responded with renewed support. They appreciated his candor and vulnerability. And slowly, the narrative shifted from Hardy loses it to Hardy speaks his truth. Meanwhile, the show continued, and so did Hardy's career. But that night became a reference point, a moment when something real pierced through the gloss of late-night entertainment. From that point on, Hardy's interviews carried a different energy. He was still charming, still intense, but more careful. He chose platforms that respected deeper conversations and avoided gimmicky formats. Jimmy Kimmel Live, too, made subtle changes, fewer invasive jokes, more room for authentic talk. It was as if both men had been changed by the incident in their own way. Audiences remembered the clash not just for the drama but for the uncomfortable truths it revealed. It became a rare example of live TV breaking away from its polished formula to show something raw, unfiltered, and undeniably real. And in a world full of performance, those moments tend to stick. In the end, the fiery clash between Tom Hardy and Jimmy Kimmel became more than just a celebrity controversy. It exposed the pressure of public life, the limits of humor, and the importance of empathy even under the spotlight. Hardy walked away with his head high, unapologetic and firm, while Kimmel took the experience as a lesson in hosting beyond the punchline. Their moment wasn't rehearsed, it wasn't expected, but it was powerful. And whether you were Team Hardy or Team Kimmel, one thing was certain: for those few minutes, the mask of entertainment slipped, revealing something real underneath. That's what made it unforgettable.